And to talk about this, I'm joined by a political analyst, Thamsanqua Zhou. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, the pleasure is all mine. We understand election is supposed to commence, at 7 a.m. across over 40,000 polling units. How has the election proceedings so far turned out?
So the election is going on in the United Kingdom. I've been to quite a number of polling stations. It appears that surprisingly, there were very large queues in certain parts of the country, especially in the capital, London. Our understanding is that there were a lot of people who wanted to vote before they went to work. So we also then expect that when work is done after hours, from about 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. or probably between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. it's likely to be busy again. The other thing that we understand is that this is the first time in a general election that identity cards or ID cards are required for you. If you are a voter, you need to show your ID. And that process of having the election officials checking everyone's ID to make sure that they are the person they say they are is also making it take longer for people to vote than ordinarily. But by and large, peaceful as you would expect, but very tricky to predict what's going to happen.
Interesting. I mean, we've seen different talks or heard different talks of people saying the future of Britain depends on these polls. And then it's widely believed that this election will hand power over to the opposition Labour Party. Why is that so?
I think at this time, it is better to wait for 10 o'clock when the exit polls will then be official. But what is likely to happen is, the reason for that is you've got polls, which are one thing, which is just saying, how are you intending to vote? But Britain is one of those countries that is divided into what you call safe seats for some of the political parties. There are some parties that will vote either for the Conservatives or, others that are like-minded, that are to the right of British politics. And there are those that will probably vote for those that are at the center and those that are to the left. And what tends to happen is if you believe, say, if you are a Green or a Lib Dem or even a Labour voter, and you are in a constituency where you believe that your vote is not going to make a difference if you vote for your party, there's a lot of what we call tactical voting that is going on. So the fact that people might have said they want to vote for a particular party does not necessarily mean that they are going to vote for that party, because they might want to try and influence the result or to stop somebody else from going on. Something's what is happening in France.
Just to chip in there,
I think,
if I may come in there, apologies for butting in. You said something quite interesting, talking about results. Now, reports indicate 31% surge in food prices, hiking voters to get the Labour Party, to win this election. What else could be, or what else, are the people unhappy about?
So the majority of the people that we have spoken to say they are unhappy with politics in general. They don't believe or trust politicians of any complexion, color, or belief. They think that politicians and the ordinary people are not on the same page. There are a lot of people who say they've been to demonstrations, to protest, they've tried to raise their voices, but every time it appears as if their voice does not make a difference in terms of how the country is governed. So it is disappointment in politics in general, and that is what appears to be hurting the Conservative Party in particular, and especially Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. So if this happens to be the last day that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is the head of government in Britain, it is not so much about what he has been able to do when in government or what he was not able to do when in government, because he came in when inflation was high, things were different, and he was able to achieve tick box the things that his party wanted him to do. It is so much about people saying they cannot trust politicians in his party anymore, which is why the the message for change has resonated. But even then, you hear people saying, well, even if they give Labour their vote, they still are not convinced that the Labour Party or the politicians are likely to play ball insofar as doing what
I'm afraid
people
that's
expect.
the most we can take. Well, thank you so much for your insight. Well, we have our ears and eyes on ground to see who comes out the winner in this election, happening in the UK. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.